Hi and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to use the Retime Controls in DaVinci Resolve to create eye-catching variable speed changes. The Retime Controls let you adjust the speed of a clip directly on the timeline. To open them, simply right-click on a clip and choose Retime Controls, or use the keyboard shortcut. The speed change bar that appears along the top of the clip has arrows indicating the direction and general speed of the clip. In this case, the blue arrows indicate the clip is running forwards. If I place my mouse over the edge of the speed controls bar, I can directly adjust the speed of the clip with the arrows being squeezed together and the speed percentage increasing. Unlike trimming, the retime controls are actually maintaining the in and the out points of the clip, but squeezing and compressing time, kind of like an accordion. Similarly, I can expand the time by dragging the speed change control to the right, which slows the clip down. Alternatively, clicking the speed menu at the bottom of the clip lets me choose a specific speed from a series of presets. And here's a pro tip for you. You can always ripple the timeline to accommodate any changes that you're making to a clip when using the retime controls. Simply ensure you're in trim edit mode before making the change and your timeline will ripple automatically. Don't forget you can use the start or end of the clip speed change bar depending on the result you're after. But to make a variable speed change, I need to use the retime controls to add speed points. Here's a clip that's about 35 seconds long and I'm going to add variable speed changes to different parts of it. I want the clip to play fast at the start but slow down at about this point as the girl walks around the corner. So, opening up the retime controls, I'll use the speed menu to add a speed point at the current playhead position. I'll add another speed point here where the second lady has taken the t-shirt and I'll want to speed the clip up again. And I'll add another speed point about here for the final speed change as she hangs the t-shirt up. The speed points effectively divide the clip into different portions that we call segments, with each segment having its own set of speed controls. So now I can change the first segment to 400%. And let's have this second segment running at 150, back to 400 for this part, and we'll leave the last segment at 100%. So with these speed changes, our clip now runs at about 14 seconds. If you want to have custom speeds for any segment, you just simply adjust the speed point at the end of that segment. For example, I want to play this first speed segment much faster. I'll simply select the top control of the next speed point and drag it to automatically adjust the speed so that it's running at around 1200%. I'll make a similar change here to this segment. I'll also increase the speed of this second segment to about 200%. And the same with the final speed segment. And let's add another speed point here so that we can return the last segment of the clip back to 100%. You can also make changes to when a speed point occurs, and this can be particularly useful if you want to align the speed change with a particular action in a clip. So let's say we want this speed change to happen on a slightly later frame, perhaps as she's passing the t-shirt to a colleague. So I'll use the lower position control to adjust the timing of the speed point. Once you're happy with the speed changes that you've made, you can then start to think about the transition across the speed point between the two different speeds. You do this by right-clicking the clip and choosing the Retime Curve option. Whilst the size of the curve area can't be resized in the timeline, I can make it easier to work with the curve by dragging the upper and lower values displayed at the top and bottom of the curve window. So I'll just adjust the upper extent of my curve to around 1400% and the lower value to about 80%. This retime curve might look a little confusing at first because it's showing two sets of speed curves. The default selected curve is the retime speed curve. click the other curve to display the Retime frame curve, or choose your preferred curve from the menu. I'll just turn off the Retime frame curve for now, leaving only the Retime speed curve displayed. The curve displays each of the speed points we added to the clip earlier as keyframes. Moving my mouse over the curve displays the relevant speeds for each of the segments, and you can make further changes to the speed portions by dragging the curve or the keyframes directly. To adjust the acceleration curve across the speed point, select the keyframe and click the button to add Bezier handles. You can use these to adjust the speed of the change across the keyframe. The closer together the handles are, the more abrupt the change. The further apart, the change is much more gradual. Select each speed point in turn to add the Bezier handles. However, there are some limitations of using the speed curve like this, and that's where Retime presets come in. In this clip, I want to have the action pause at the frame to introduce the title. First, I'll position my playhead over the frame I want to hold and reveal the Retime controls. From the speed pop-up menu, I'll choose freeze frame, which creates a 2-second hold frame at 0% speed. I can make this longer or shorter by dragging the top control of the second speed point. And now I'll just show the Retime curve and add Bezier handles to ease the change into and out of the freeze frame. For slightly smoother results, let's change the retime process to optical flow. There's also a preset for rewinding the portion of a clip for an instant replay. Add speed points around a segment that you want to rewind. Then, from the speed menu, choose Rewind and whichever speed you want to start with. This will duplicate the segment twice, with the middle segment being reversed at your chosen speed. Which can be further adjusted to your liking using the Retime Controls and Retime Curve.